Not just tanks. Russia's big guns are failing under relentless strikes. Analysts suggest Russia's artillery is being obliterated at record pace. Here's what's happening. Let's break it down. When Russia's invasion began, its military doctrine rested on a simple, brutal truth. Artillery was the god of war. This was a term coined by Joseph Stalin. It remained central to Russian military thinking for decades. The plan was clear. Overwhelming firepower would shatter Ukrainian defenses. Massed artillery barrages would pave the way for armored columns. Victory was expected to be swift, a direct result of Russia's immense superiority in guns and shells. This assumption has been proven false. Today, on November 25th, 2025, that god of war is faltering. Foundations of Russian strategy are cracking under unprecedented losses. The narrative has shifted dramatically. What was once a story of Russian numerical dominance is now a story of systemic attrition. Open-source intelligence analysts and official reports paint a stark picture. Russia is losing its artillery systems at a rate that is not merely high, but accelerating. The year 2025 has already set a grim record, surpassing the total losses of 2024 before the year has even concluded. This is not a minor setback. It is a fundamental crisis for a military force that has long relied on its ability to saturate the battlefield with high explosive shells, using volume of fire to compensate for tactical shortcomings. This essay will dissect the data that no one mentions. It will explore the mechanics behind this staggering rate of destruction. We will examine how a new form of warfare, driven by drones and real-time intelligence, has systematically dismantled Russia's most formidable conventional asset. The problem extends beyond the battlefield, deep into Russia's industrial base and its dwindling Soviet-era stockpiles. It is a story of engineering limitations, logistical strain, and a strategic miscalculation of historic proportions. The sheer scale of Russia's artillery losses is difficult to comprehend without examining the numbers year by year. The trend line is steep and unforgiving. In 2022, during the initial phases of the full-scale invasion, Ukrainian forces reportedly destroyed or damaged approximately 2,021 Russian artillery systems. While significant, this number reflects a period when Ukraine was still adapting its defenses and its counter-battery capabilities were less developed. Russia's artillery operated with a degree of impunity, delivering devastating barrages against Ukrainian positions and cities. The situation began to change dramatically in 2023. As Ukraine integrated Western-supplied systems and, more importantly, scaled its domestic drone production, its ability to hunt Russian artillery improved exponentially. OSINT sources and Ukrainian Ministry of Defense reports indicate that losses for Russia more than tripled, reaching an estimated 6,461 systems for the year. This jump signaled a tactical shift. Ukraine was no longer just enduring artillery fire. It was actively and effectively hunting the guns themselves. The year 2024 marked another staggering escalation. Losses reportedly doubled from the previous year, reaching a total of 13,050 destroyed or damaged artillery units. This figure underscores the maturation of Ukraine's hunter-killer tactics. What was once a complex and time-consuming task, locating and striking an enemy artillery piece, was now being executed with unprecedented speed and regularity. Now, in late 2025, the trend has not only continued but accelerated. As of November 23, 2025, reports from official Ukrainian sources claim that 13,053 Russian artillery systems have been neutralized this year alone. This figure surpasses the entire total for 2024, with more than a month left in the calendar. To truly grasp the operational tempo of this destruction, it is useful to break down the annual totals into a daily rate. Using the reported figure of 13,053 systems lost in the first 325 days of 2025, a simple calculation reveals an average loss rate of approximately 40.16 artillery units per day. This number is extraordinary. It means that every single day, Russia is losing the equivalent of several artillery battalions worth of equipment. This is not a sustainable rate of loss for any military, regardless of the size of its initial stockpiles. Sustaining such losses requires a constant and massive flow of replacements, a challenge that is proving insurmountable. With 39 days left in 2025, maintaining this pace would result in an additional 1,566 systems being destroyed. This would bring the estimated total for 2025 to over 14,619 artillery units. This projection, while based on a simple average, illustrates the relentless pressure on Russia's forces. Each day, the deficit between systems lost and systems replaced grows larger. The dramatic increase in Russian artillery losses is not an accident. It is the result of a highly evolved and efficient system that analysts call a hunter-killer chain, or kill web. This process integrates multiple technologies and intelligence sources to shorten the time between detecting a target and destroying it. The first and most crucial link is the ubiquitous drone. Small, inexpensive FPV drones, larger reconnaissance drones. Drone footage scanning the ground for signs of artillery. The gun itself. Ammunition stacks. Support vehicles. The tracks they leave behind. Once a potential target is located by a recon drone, the second step is confirmation and targeting. Different systems work in concert. A drone's live video feed cross-referenced with signals intelligence. Cross-referenced with counter-battery radar data. Counter-battery radars like the AN/TPQ-36 detecting incoming shells and calculating origins, fusing radar tracks with visual confirmation from a loitering drone. Operators can be certain of the exact location even if the gun stopped firing. This fusion eliminates guesswork and raises strike success probability. The third link is the killer component. FPV drone carrying an RPG warhead for close targets, effective against self-propelled artillery, effective against towed artillery. HIMARS firing GPS-guided GMLRS rockets from dozens of kilometers away. Beyond the direct impact of enemy fire, Russia's artillery corps is suffering from a less visible but equally corrosive problem: engineering failure. At the heart of this issue is barrel wear. An artillery barrel is a piece of high-precision engineering designed to withstand immense pressure and heat. The rifling inside the barrel, which imparts spin and stability to the projectile, is slowly eroded with every shot. As a barrel wears out, its accuracy degrades significantly. A gun that cannot hit its target is not just ineffective. It is a liability, consuming precious ammunition and exposing its crew to counter-battery fire for no tactical gain. The sheer volume of fire demanded by Russian doctrine has accelerated this process dramatically. In the early stages of the war, some Russian units were firing hundreds of rounds per day through a single gun. This pace far exceeds sustainable firing schedules for most artillery systems, leading to rapid degradation of the barrels. The solution is to replace the barrels, but this is a major logistical challenge. Spare barrels are themselves complex manufactured goods, requiring specialized steel-heavy machinery. Russia began the war with a large stockpile of Soviet-era barrels, but these reserves are finite and have been heavily depleted. Compounding the problem of barrel wear is the quality of the ammunition being used. To sustain its high rate of fire, Russia has turned to external suppliers, most notably North Korea. Numerous reports from OSINT analysts, government intelligence agencies, have detailed massive shipments of North Korean artillery shells. However, subsequent analysis and battlefield reports suggest that the quality of this ammunition is often poor. Some shells are reportedly decades old, with corroded casings, degraded propellant. Firing such low-quality, inconsistent ammunition can cause irregular pressures inside the barrel, further accelerating wear, and in some cases, leading to catastrophic in-bore explosions that destroy the gun and kill its crew. As a result, Russian forces are reportedly cannibalizing guns from deep storage, stripping them for their barrels and other parts just to keep frontline systems operational. The differences in design philosophy between Russian and Western artillery systems are a key factor in the current conflict. Russian systems were built for a doctrine of massed fire. These are robust, powerful 152mm systems, designed to deliver a high volume of shells. Their strength lies in numbers and brute force. This philosophy worked well when Russia could maintain a massive numerical advantage and its guns were not under constant threat. In contrast, Modern Western artillery systems supplied to Ukraine, the French Caesar, the Swedish Archer, the American M777, are built around a different philosophy: precision and mobility. They can drive to a firing position, launch several rounds with extreme accuracy in under a minute, and be miles away before the first shell even impacts the target. The towed M777 is exceptionally lightweight for its power, allowing it to be moved quickly by helicopter or truck, making it harder to target. Western systems are designed from the ground up to use advanced munitions, including GPS-guided shells like the Excalibur. A single guided shell can achieve what might otherwise take dozens of unguided shells, striking a specific target with meter-level accuracy. While Russia's artillery is being destroyed on the battlefield, a second front is being fought in its factories. Russia has ramped up domestic military production. Analysts estimate factories may be producing 2 to 4 million artillery shells per year. That volume lets Russia sustain heavy fire despite gun losses. But shells are only part of the equation. The critical bottleneck is production of new artillery systems and replacement barrels. Manufacturing a modern gun is a complex industrial task. Western sanctions have severely complicated this. Russia's access to high-precision CNC machine tools is heavily restricted. Those tools are needed to rifle barrels and to manufacture breech components. Russia seeks to bypass sanctions through third countries, which adds cost delay and uncertainty. Production of new guns is not keeping pace with staggering battlefield losses. Reliance on Soviet-era stockpiles was a stopgap, but the depots are being emptied. Satellite OSINT shows storage bases draining. Russia's primary tactical advantage for the first 2 years of the war was its ability to generate overwhelming firepower. This allowed its forces to conduct relentless offensive operations, using artillery to suppress Ukrainian defenses, create breaches for infantry armor to exploit. That differential has been steadily eroding, forcing a change in Russian tactics. Instead, analysts have observed a shift towards smaller-scale infiltration tactics. Small, dismounted infantry groups are now often used to probe and penetrate Ukrainian lines, sometimes without significant artillery support. This is a far riskier and more manpower-intensive approach. It reflects a reality where commanders can no longer count on having an endless supply of artillery to solve their tactical problems. In mid-2024, some reports suggested Russia was firing as many as 5 shells for every one fired by Ukraine. By late 2024, that ratio had reportedly fallen to as low as 1.5 to 1. This is not because Russia is running out of shells. Production remains substantial. It is because Russia is running out of serviceable guns to fire them. Looking ahead to 2026, analysts project the firepower ratio could reach 1 to 1. Artillery parity would mark a fundamental failure of Russia's initial war strategy and force a complete doctrinal reassessment. The war would resemble a contest of drones, electronic warfare, small unit tactics rather than a clash of industrial-age armies. For Ukraine, artillery parity unlocks new strategic possibilities. Without constant overwhelming barrages, Ukrainian forces could mass for offensives more safely. Ukraine could better leverage its advantages in precision, mobility, and real-time intelligence. Russia's artillery, once the undisputed god of war and the central pillar of its military might, is in a state of crisis. The data is unambiguous. The losses are staggering and accelerating with each passing year. Ukraine has forged an efficient, ruthless hunter-killer chain, drones, sensors, precision weapons, that has turned rear areas into a high-threat environment. This battlefield attrition is worsened by systemic weakness behind the lines. For the first time, artillery parity is a plausible near-term reality. The silence of the big guns is becoming deafening. The silence of the big guns is becoming deafening. According to military experts and OSINT sources, Russia faces a long-term artillery crisis. The only question is how long its god of war can survive. Subscribe to Defense Scope for more military analysis.